Several people have asked me about Byler and whether I think they're going to end up together as someone who studied psychology, so here's my take on them. And let me preface this by saying I'm not assuming that Mike is straight because that's heteronormative. I'm specifically looking at how these two behave with each other. The first thing that sticks out to me about them is that they have a very unique level of trust with each other. Notice how Will exclusively confides in Mike about his visions and Mike exclusively confides in Will about his insecurities. They trust each other more than anyone else, and trust is the foundation of every strong relationship. Both Mike and Eleven and Mike and Will fight, but they handle their arguments very differently. Mike tends to deflect a lot and he gaslights Eleven, so he says she's ridiculous, he calls girls a different species. But with Will, Mike won't even let him apologize. He immediately takes accountability, and taking accountability is how healthy couples tend to resolve their issues. That's what makes them so resilient. They also seem to understand each other better than anyone else. For example, Mike doesn't need to tell Will that he's scared of losing Eleven because Will already knows, and Will feels like Mike is the only person who doesn't infantilize him. They also have a lot of shared looks in season 4, which means that they don't need words to communicate. In my opinion, they are the embodiment of show don't tell, which Stranger Things tends to use to distinguish between its healthiest relationships and its most unhealthy ones. All three of these are couples that have never had to say they love each other, which sets them apart from these two. There's also an Easter egg in the show that Mike and Will have a really hard time being apart. And it's that in Eleven's letter to Mike, she tells him that emotions can speed up or slow down time. And of course, if you're miserable, time is going to be slow. Mike and Will then proceed to overestimate how long they've been apart 3 times, which tells us this is not a mistake. They're having a really hard time without each other. When it comes to fighting monsters, there's this repeated sense of fighting together, fighting as a team, which is in stark contrast to you're my superhero and you need to fight. And then we have this scene, which I cannot overemphasize the importance of. Remember, Mike is a leader at heart. His love language is to protect people, which is why, as Eleven becomes increasingly independent in season 4, he becomes lost. And this is when Will reminds Mike that he needs him and he always will, meaning that their arcs are converging and Mike's and Elle's arcs are diverging, which is a direct setup for season 5. Remember, these two are paired up together. They said that they're going to fight Vecna together. As Will becomes increasingly in danger, Mike is going to resume his protective stance over him, which is going to reignite in him a sense of self-worth, which will bring back leader Mike, and I think that their relationship is going to evolve into something romantic. I do think Byler is endgame, and I don't think the show is particularly subtle about it.